Welcome back to the Castle Country Real Estate Podcast. This is episode number 5. I'm Josh Madsen from Real Estate Titans here in Price, Utah, and super happy to be here. And thanks for checking this out. We've gone past the month mark since we started the podcast, and super excited to keep this going. If you're tuning in for the first time, we're going to be doing this every Friday to bring you the latest in Carbon and Emery County real estate statistics, what's going on in the market, and maybe even answer some questions as we get moving along with this to keep you in the know about what's going on in the area. So to kick things off, week number 5 of doing the podcast. Last week I was talking about how we hadn't crested over the total amount of properties in Carbon and Emery County combined being over 90. And this is it, folks. 92 properties are active as of this morning in Carbon and Emery County combined. These are single family homes. And we're super excited to see that. So that also means if you've been listening to the podcast and what I've been talking about is that we're slowly starting to see more inventory come on the market. And this is great for a variety of reasons that we've covered in the podcast. For buyers, it's great because you have more options to look at. And it also means that the homes are staying on the market a little bit longer and sort of taking off the pressure of what's been happening in the last 2 years. In the past 7 days, we've had 6 properties close, and that's a little bit less than we were seeing the last few weeks. It's not really replenishing necessarily what's coming on the market. So we'll see in the coming months. By the end of August, going into September, it's going to be interesting to see if, as we get more supply, is if people are still purchasing the homes. My prediction is it's probably going to stay pretty strong. There's still a lot of qualified buyers in the market. Bringing you up to speed on general market statistic and what is going on right now, I wanted to cover selling your house and how your asking price matters more than ever. In the last 2 years, it was very unique with the pandemic situation. Low interest rates, incredibly high qualified buyers, more cash in the market, and you were seeing all sorts of pressure on the market. And especially here too, in an area that, hasn't truly grown enormous amounts over the last 3 decades. Even here, we're seeing prices increase. You're seeing multiple offer situations, and it definitely wasn't unique than other parts of the state and the country. So as we start talking about sellers and why pricing matters, this is incredibly important. And this is why using a realtor that's qualified in the area is really important. And that's hopefully a service that I can offer you, is how to price your house correctly if you're going to go sell your home. And the reason being is the last 2 years was unique in the sense that basically you had the opportunity to sort of price it maybe in a way that was maybe even a little high, and you still got some traction in terms of marketing and whatnot because there just weren't enough houses. And so now what we're seeing is, as we're starting to come out of this situation with a little bit higher interest rates, it sort of knocked out that bottom tier of buyers, and now you've got to price correctly. Why you want to do that? Why don't you want to price it super high? It's because you don't want to miss out on buyers that are looking in a certain bracket that the home is actually worth. Appraisals have caught up in terms of the value of homes. And so it's really important to do that. And another thing that you want to keep in mind is price reductions. We're starting to see more of those now. That's not necessarily a good thing. Ultimately, it's up to the seller. Like when I go in and do a market analysis and say, here's the range I think your home's worth and what we're going to list. And then ultimately it's up to the seller to say, hey, this is what I want to sell it for. But one thing I always discourage sellers from doing is pricing high and just throwing a number out there and then decreasing the price, doing a price reduction. Now, why is that? On the buyer side, when I'm working with buyers, one thing that I hear from buyers most often, and especially right now as things are starting to shift, is when you see a price reduction, you may start to wonder what's wrong with the property. And I think a lot of times what we're seeing now in the last month as things start shifting is we're seeing this transition of people sort of maybe going a little higher than they should, and now they're having a price reduced because there's not as much demand on the properties. And that starts to raise some questions for people as to why in a perceivable hot market, why you're reducing the price. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Just in the general market, what's going on is I think we're going to start seeing prices start mellowing out, even though everyone is predicting, and we've talked about this, we're probably still going to see at least a 10% increase in value leading up into Q4 of 2022, and probably high single digits appreciation, value going up in high single digits in 2023. This is still because we're in a housing shortage. There's not enough houses for the people that want them. But why I want to bring this up is if you're considering selling your home, it's important to use a professional that can get you the right numbers that are going to make it competitive, and they're just still going to get you top dollar for your home. Okay, so this portion of the podcast is all about a little real estate hot tip. Since I kind of focused on the sellers and just the general market statistics, I wanted to talk a little bit about the buyers. And I wanted to give you 3 tips for real estate buyers as you're getting into the market. So the first one is maintaining your credit. And most people generally know this. You need to have a good credit score, and this is part of the process in qualifying for a loan if that's what you're going to be doing. One thing is a lot of people think, oh, well, my credit maybe isn't as good as I think it should be or whatnot. And this is why I'm always saying over and over, go into a great lender who I can put you in touch with, or you can choose your own, and getting pre-qualified for a loan. This is the number 1 step in buying a home, and maintaining a good credit score is part of that. Now, some people may think, well, my credit score is not great. And this is where I encourage people to go talk to a lender and at least get a nice step-by-step process of how to achieve the credit score that you need. And good lenders are very much going to take time to do that and help you get to the finish line. So, number 2, understand your loan options. There's so many different loan programs out there, from conventional loans to FHA to VA for veterans, USDA rural loans, and even within FHA, for instance, there's different loan programs that you can qualify for. So it's really important to take time during the pre-approval process with a lender. They're going to walk you through the different loan programs, and it's important for you to take the time to understand what type of loan you're getting. Not just a 30-year loan or a 15-year loan, but also what down payments are required, and a great lender can walk you through that. So number 3 is don't forget the closing costs. Now, as the realtor, this is something I always like to do, is work closely with the lender and the buyer and make sure we understand the closing costs that are going to be needed to get the whole deal done. A lot of times people get in and they're like, okay, this is going to be my payment and this is how much I need for my down payment, but then they forget about other things: appraisal fees, escrow fees, title insurance, discount points if you're buying down the loan, property taxes. And these are the things that you really want to keep in mind. As you go through the process, a good lender and a realtor and a title company, those 3 entities can kind of come together to give you some preliminary ideas through the process to let you know how much you're going to be spending at closing, so that it's not a big surprise. And that's really important. But make sure to keep those things in mind and have a little extra money set aside that when you go to do your home purchase, you kind of know there's going to be that in the end. All right, so wrapping up for this week of the podcast, always like to talk about local events that are going on. Helper Vibes is back tomorrow down on Helper Main Street. The band Stonefed's going to be playing. There's tons of good vendors down there, and it's just an awesome time to connect with everybody in the community and check out the galleries and the restaurants down there. So again, I'll be down there. If you see me, come on up, say hello. I'd love to meet you and get to know you. And this is it's a great time just to celebrate summer in the warmer months of the year as we start heading towards fall and winter. So again, I'm Josh Madsen. I'm from Real Estate Titans here in Price, Utah. I'm having an awesome time doing the podcast. Please tag your friends, share it with people that might be interested, and you can check back every Friday for a new episode to know what's going on in the local market, the national market, and some hot tips that can kind of help you as a buyer or a seller if you're dealing in real estate. And until next week, I'll see you later. Thanks a lot.